love. Welcome to the Faceted Duality podcast. I'm Amor Tonae.
I'm Tonae, and we have a very special guest with us today.
Very special.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm just Mike the Poet.
Gratitude. So who is Mike the Poet? Tell us a little bit more about who Mike the Poet is.
I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Okay.
Mike is a poet. The just is because, social media kind of makes people become somebody else. So the justice, so I could just stay. But I'm a poet. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a writer, book publisher. I think that's all today. That's all the hats. And then besides this one, that's all the hats.
I like that. That's all today because it's such a journey. It's like, who knows what'll align ahead.
Well, no, it's just a bunch. I mean, I've been a veteran. I'm an uncle. I'm a son.
Yeah.
I'm a landlord.
Okay.
I'm a dispensary owner. But today I'm a poet. Tonight I'm a poet.
So how did you align, I would say, to be more so in the creative space from, being in the service and all the other things that you've done?
I think my first experience with writing was, my first experience with poetry was a date night with a girlfriend at the time. And we went to an open mic night, and it was pretty cool. And that was, maybe like 10, almost 12 years ago. And we were looking for things to do to make our relationship, because all we was doing was snacking and shacking.
Snacking and chilling.
Right. This was like VHS, DVD days now, right? This was like the early 2000s. So we found this poetry spot, and I liked it. And then it was like a monthly thing. We went back for like the next 4 or 5 months. I never wrote anything, but me and the girl ended up breaking up. Broke my little heart. I know. And
how long were y'all together?
3 years, 3 months, 3 days. I didn't do the math until later, right?
333.
333. I know, it's annoying. The last 4 numbers of my phone number is 444.
Wow.
I've been. My first book came out 12/12/12. Right. So I think my whole life is in alignment. But
for sure.
So yeah, the girl broke my heart. Niggas was sad. I used to watch all of these Deaf Poetry DVDs because we liked the poetry so much that we ordered like Deaf Poetry DVDs. I was watching them and I was sad. Next thing you know, we started writing, and then 12 years later, we here.
Wow.
Of course, I missed a couple steps, but
yeah, for sure. In summary.
Did you, when y'all first went to the poetry night, was it something that she had to convince you to do, or did you genuinely want to go?
No, I think I found the vibe. And I said, hey, you want to go to this? And she was like, yeah. Actually, I think I had it wrong. I think we started watching the Deaf Poetry first, and then we went to the poetry show. Yeah, that's what it was. We started watching Deaf Poetry, and then I found a poetry spot, like, yo, we should go see it live. And then that's how we went.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So how do we transition from writing poetry into writing books like Dear Woman?
Well, I think that was all my supporters doing. I don't like to call them fans, I guess. But when I used to write the poetry, I was content with just writing it. And it really wasn't poetry. It was just words. And that's what my first book's called Just Words. So I was just writing words. And then they were like, hey, you should write a book. And I'm like, y'all gonna buy it? And they were like, yeah. I said, all right, well, I'll write one. And then I wrote the book, and don't you know niggas bought it? And they were like, yo, this is good. You should write another one. And now we're 4 in. Working on the 5th.
So basically listening to your supporters.
Just listening to my supporters. I was giving people what they want. They wanted books, they wanted tours, they wanted merch, they wanted, everything.
Yeah, speaking of merch, I'm rocking your No More Boyfriend.
Legendary
I love
shirt.
it. It's so dope. What are your intentions behind this slogan, No More Boyfriend?
Well, funny story. After I wrote Dear Woman, I guess it was a recharge for women's self-worth. That's what the reviews were. And they were like, all right, well, what happens now? So they were like, Mike, after I read Dear Woman, I went from here to here. So, but now that I'm here, all of the guys I was dealing with when I was here, they just don't match no more. So I said, I got an idea. I'm going to write a bunch of love poems, and I'm going to be your boyfriend until your boyfriend shows up.
Wow, right? I didn't expect that to be there.
Right. So, but my grandmom, she's still alive right now. She's 104.
Wow.
But she was like 98 at the time. And, I was living at her house up until I became like super successful. Well, not at her house. She had like a duplex. I was living in one apartment and she was living in the other. And, when I'm like, Grandma, I'm moving out because I'm doing all these books, she was like, well, what's your next book going to be about? And granted, she was born in 1918. So when I told her the idea of a boyfriend, she was like, what the fuck is that? She's like, we didn't have no boyfriends.
Whoa.
So I was like, damn, well, once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah.
So it challenged me to do some more research. So I did some research on boyfriend and when it was started and where it came from and, what it means. And then I'm like, wait a minute. So I went and I did a tour, 5 cities, 300 women, and I gave them my book to read, and I kind of created a lesson plan for it.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, after the end of this, how many of y'all think y'all still want a boyfriend? And out of 300, like 299 of them say, you probably got a point.
Wow.
And that's when I put the book out, and it went super crazy. Bunch of people rocking and no more boyfriends, and the book was so good, I haven't written another one since. And it's been like 6 years.
That is so dope.
Yeah, God is great. Shout out to God.
Yes.
So the boyfriend concept is very new. That makes sense.
Yeah, out of 2,000 years, it's only been around like 60 of them. So people had to be doing something. I think it was just, hey, I like you, let's get married. Not all of these pre-commitment commitments.
Okay. Pre-commitment commitments. That is exactly what they.
Redundancy here.
So what can we look out for as far as what's coming next for you?
Oh, heck yeah.
You on your journey.
Hope is on the way. I was supposed to drop the book in 2017, but life got in the way. I tried to fall in love a couple times. I fell in love with the pivot, but right now I think my next goal is to put out a book by the end of the year, and it's going to be hope, because that's what I think people need a little bit more of, and I think all of my writing stems from within, and I feel like I could use some too. So I've been working really hard on it, and I'm just gonna do my best to put that book out.
I love that.
Whatever happens after that happens.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to hope.
Yeah.
Yes. Hope.
Definitely will be supporting that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So why do you think double standards exist? Let's get into some.
Why do I think double standards? Because we've got double genders, and every gender has a standard, and sometimes they don't align. And the standards aren't perpetuated as a cohesive unit, they're perpetuated individually. So women have their own standards that are given to them by women and then supported by women, and then men got their own, and then nobody really talks to each other.
We don't talk about human standards.
Yes, and then
people standards.
That's the thing, yeah.
What it's like what it means to be a good human.
Oh,
Exactly.
for sure, and that's paramount. It's so important that you say that.
People would rather debate about relationships.
Yeah.
So, are there any double standards that, just off the top of your head, that you agree with? Like, women shouldn't do this, but it's okay for men to do it, or vice versa, that you would agree with?
I don't think a woman with a man should. Well, I don't think a woman with. Well, let me be careful. Let me be careful.
It's okay.
Sure. Well, I just want to make sure that I'm smart about what I say, because sometimes I say something and not really mean it.
And there's no edit.
No, I know. I think if there's a double standard that I agree with, then it's the fact that shit. Can we come back to that?
Sure.
Okay.
We gotta skip.
Yeah.
Or can you think of one that you would disagree with off the top of your head?
Shit, all of them. It's easier to say that. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm too old to be like playing both sides of the fence. I mean, I feel like I love women. I feel like women are God's greatest gift to the planet. I feel like the Black woman is like the supreme gift, and I feel like Black women in their fight for equality, it kind of shifted into the body in a way that empowers them. Now, there's a difference between empowerment and like condoning the misuse of the gift that God gave you, which is your flesh.
Right.
right? And I think it's like, hey, we want to work, hey, we want equal pay, hey, we want equal rights, and then hey, you know what? We can do whatever we want to do with our bodies too. And for the most part, that is true. But I mean, I don't know if that's a necessary fight. Whereas uh, I feel like men are just have been encouraged this whole time to, when he's young, oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker, right? Oh, he's looking at me so handsome, and then
it's so glorified.
and then I'm so nervous that if that becomes the narrative, then we're gonna have to kind of recalculate value a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, there's some games that men have created that I don't wish for women to want to play. When it comes now, I know sexual exploration is important. I know not attaching a physical desire to your romantic needs is important, but just do it with grace, just do it with grace, because soul ties are real. And while I'm trying to get my brothers to relax on the sexual stimulation, if I thought that the women were already cool, but I'm noticing it's like, you know what, we fucking who we want, when we want, how we want to.
Yeah,
And that's
it's definitely. I think a lot of it is influenced by what we see men do,
yeah.
what we see our fathers do, what we see our brothers do, what our boyfriends did. So it's like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. A lot of people feel like that.
Yes.
Instead of saying, hey, this is my standard, rise up to meet me.
Yeah, like I'm just so like one of the things I got a list of things I'm gonna talk to God about when I get there, right? If I get there, and I'm gonna ask him like, bro, like, why did you put something so simple as sex with something so heavy as child creation, right? and I would love to hear his answer, because just giving us that book that says, yeah, you should only do it when you're trying to do this is really setting up a lot of people for failure, because, I mean, I'm all about women's right to choose, but a lot of times, women are going to choose to not have a baby taken out of them. And if they choose that, and it's just a ramification of one crazy night of empowerment, let's call it, with some random guy, and next thing you know, you got a kid, and that's just a tough thing. So how do we save people from themselves in an area, in a generation where everybody's got an audience, right?
Well, I know people are not going to stop having sex, but I am a big advocate for semen retention, which kind of gets rid of the whole let's make a baby thing, because you can still have fun, you can still explore and enjoy one another's bodies without
that's a slippery slope, though.
Yeah. Now we have discipline.
It takes discipline and work for sure.
But
I can only speak from my own perspective, but I do know men that have done it and that practice it even within relationships.
For sure.
Yeah.
In relationships is wild. I've never had that, but it's only recently that I had to retrain my brain to realize that sex is not about the expulsion of semen. More, and then I mean, most of the pleasure begins in the foreplay and goes straight up until like the moment of penetration. I mean, me personally, right now it's March 31st. I haven't had sex since November, and I'm so proud of myself. I think besides my military service, this is the longest I've been like with myself, and that's
congratulations on that sacred space you in.
Yo, I'm trying
I've been in a sacred space too.
I've been trying to hold it down. It's really hard. I do all of these shows, no pun intended. I do all of these shows and all of these people, and sometimes I do the poems and people be like, "Yeah, oh my God, ain't y'all staying here? You room upstairs, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No."
You like he say no.
No.
Well, that's dope. I'm proud of you.
Oh man, keep hope alive.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you as well.
Yeah, that's
Thank
dope.
you.
So you spoke on soul ties, which I believe soul ties. Do you also believe in soulmates?
I don't think there's one human on the planet, but I think if you're an old soul and you come across another old soul, then y'all could be mates. When you really dig down deep into it, I think it's one of those things that it's just a title people throw around to kind of give it specific distinction to somebody that they really care about in a certain way, more so than it's I guess souls that kind of rekindled in a new life,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like the root of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, oh my God, you're not just my boyfriend, you're not my fiance, you're my soulmate.
It's probably like my brother a couple lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in soul tribes and the idea that, you know, if we have had past life connections, then we're gonna find each other possibly, and you know, we might make great business partners, or we might make great lovers, or you might be my auntie, you know. Who knows?
Yeah, I believe there's definitely multiple mates to the soul for sure. And different reflections depending upon the space and time we're in.
Yeah.
The type of mates that we attract to our soul or are attracted to, versus it being versus it being just like one soulmate. Like, because soulmates can be a mate to your soul, can be a friend, a business partner, like she said, can be anybody. It can be a family member. Yeah. So considering that, then do you feel you've aligned with a soulmate before or had a soulmate?
I think in some ways, yes, but sometimes it's just in passing. Sometimes it's just a beautiful weekend in like Costa Rica with a random person. Rarely is it my romantic partner that I just found that was just unlike any other. I think most of my soulmates are like these. Damn, you feel familiar, but you're not. You know, or like, wow, it's like crazy. You meet somebody who wants the same things as you do, or sometimes it's a person that God sends you to help you on your journey. I think there's a lot of moving parts to it. I just want people to get out of the romantic side and just try to put soulmates in that box.
Yes,
and it's dangerous. It's because people think soulmates are like your perfect match.
Yes.
So you spend your whole dating experience trying to find this perfect person that checks all the boxes or that makes you tingle in this way that you read about.
Well, multiple people will make you tingle.
That's up for debate, but it's okay if it doesn't make you tingle.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
it
it's
don't have
definitely
to
up for
be all
debate.
that for it to still be
The journey, like, tingle could be so many different ways of tingle too. Like, you know, just make you feel good in your soul.
we all know the tingle that I'm talking about. It's I don't know. I think it's something that we've all read about, something that we've all like seen on TV and like expected it to.
Fairy tale.
You just know, like when you meet the person, I don't necessarily think that that's accurate or something that you should be looking for.
Absolutely. What's your thoughts on love languages?
What are my thoughts on love languages?
Yeah.
I think it's a book that did its job in trying to get people to understand different ways to give and receive love. I don't think that people are isolated into one or another, but it definitely started the conversation with love just being about this masculine feminine thing, or about like, you know, an exchange of services. So I like it for that. But, you know, with anything, people who read just on the surface level will be like, you know, my love language is words of affirmation. And then they realize they like to be touched too. So, I mean, any information you receive, you know, just take it for what it is and do the work after the fact. I mean, I think it's a great conversation starter, and it's a great tool that you can use for your partner. But you'll notice that different partners bring different things out of you. So, but it's a great. If I had to pick my own, my favorite to give would be gifts, and my favorite to receive would be words of affirmation. Empowerment. It's hard being a Black man sometimes. You don't really hear. You know,
that's why I make sure to be intentional about pouring into you guys, because I know that those across the board words of affirmation is needed for you guys. I hear that a lot. So, do you think that you should teach someone how to love?
Shit. Do I think? I think strangers. I think anytime you go from, I mean, you have a stranger who you introduce into your life, there should be some orientation there. I think there are some fundamental principles to love that should not be taught, especially at our big age, well, my big age anyway. I like to think that because I'm 38 years old, the people that I attract or pursue have like some fundamental foundation in love, but you don't know
in
who's
a perfect world, right?
In a perfect world.
You think
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
but...
Basic. I'm too far along in my journey to teach basic principles.
Okay.
I think one of my most recent relationships probably wasn't as successful is because of the age gap and because of the level of experience received. And you notice that, there was a friction there unnecessarily because you got somebody that's just introduced into this world of romantic love and then somebody on their way out. And I think one of the heads that got bumped there was that, like, hey, like, I've never taken care of a man before, and you're a grown ass man. And it's like, I feel foolish for trying to teach somebody. Now, granted, love is the greatest teacher of them all. So I think just loving on somebody is the greatest thing that you can do. But when love starts turning into constant reminders or renegotiating expectations and non-negotiables, then we got issues. So we're gonna have to do some work there. But to answer your question, I think there is some orientation in teaching that how to love you as an individual.
I agree. I think that people overcomplicate it. Like, it could be as simple as just saying what you like and allowing someone to move accordingly. And if they move in the opposite direction, then you have to make a choice if you're going to compromise on your needs and what you want, or if you're going to continue to reiterate what you need, or if you just move along. But saying he should just know or she should just know, I don't think that's productive. And that's how people stay in situations for years and years, because they love someone, but the other person hasn't figured out how to love them properly. You never
Whose
said
fault
anything
is
about
that?
it.
Whose fault is that?
I think it's on both parties, because you never asked, okay, well, like, what do you need from me? And you never said, like, hey, this is what I need from you. It's simple. And I know I'm making it seem very simple, but it's a conversation. It's a vulnerable conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. Because what if your partner looks at you and says, hey, like, I'm not capable of doing that, or I just don't want to do that? Because now you have to actually make a choice to walk away. A lot of people would rather just, I don't know.
I think so many people have become accustomed to the downside of relationships. Believe it or not, they fast forward to that and then sit there because that's familiar, which is super dangerous. I think people who have watched family members or parents stick it out in relationships through tough times, they take that tough time mentality, and after that warm and fuzzy 90-day phase, they sit in this place of discomfort and take it on as normal. And I don't support that at all. I feel like anybody who sits in silence deserves the treatment that they receive, because closed mouths don't get fed. And any love I have for you is supposed to be backed by the love that I have for myself. So I don't really love myself if I allow you to not love me. So the real enemy in this conversation is yourself. And you can't hold the other person accountable, because you loving yourself would make you verbalize the fact that they're not giving you love. I feel like overall we shoot a lot of people bail for mistakes, and we give low-key passive-aggressive advice that doesn't ruffle any feathers, but also offers support to whatever situation you're in. And I feel like that has to stop, because you're allowing people to suffer. Like, yeah, girl, it's all right. It's just a rough patch, or it's all right,
Rough patch been for 2 years.
No. And then if I've been in a rough patch with you for 2 years, you might love me to the best of your ability, but the real issue is that I don't love myself, because no way does the love I have for myself let me sit in 2 years in misery and discomfort.
Exactly.
And we're not talking about the kind that just, you might get a refill or a refresh or a pot twist on your birthday and Christmas. But for the most part, it's super basic. It's super dishonest. It's super, super superficial. And I would rather us all be single and do the single work, or at least engage with people for the one things that we need for people. I feel like people just need 2 or 3 things from another human, but decide that the best way to get those is to take on a whole nother human and the responsibility of that human and call it a relationship. I might just need conversation and entertainment, but I'm going to go out my way to be a man, pursue you, lock you up in my little cage for my entertainment and company, expect you to shut yourself off from around the world when I'm not really only here to provide you with the things that I want to give you. You know, I mean, that kind of goes back to No More Boyfriends. If we realize it helps us realize what exactly we need from people and what exactly people need from us. Because I could be a great communicator to you, I could be a great support system to you, I could be a physical lover to you, and it might, on the surface, it sounds like playerish, right? But it's really having micro relationships, which I feel like would save a lot of people the anguish and the heartbreak because they're only dealing with people from what this person wants from you and what I have to give, and it's just a different way of looking at non-platonic engagement.
I think a lot of people are realizing that and that they can't, or they haven't found everything that they need in one person. So that's why we're seeing more of the polyamory or like the poly style relationships, open,
which is a joke. I feel well, no. I don't feel like poly is a joke.
You said it.
Well, no, I mean, I feel like it's an excuse that poly is a lifestyle that has been practiced probably just as long as marriage. So let me say that. But for me as a Christian, polyamory and marriage are as opposite as I could get. Because if I go to God with a wife and what I believe God is and what I believe a wife is, I can't on that same Christian tongue go to my wife and say, I want another woman sexually, right? Even if it could be done, even if I'm with a woman that might want it done too. But I don't marry a woman to please a woman. I marry a woman to please God. I marry a woman to start a family. I mean, this is just my own personal opinion. You can take it, so I think sometimes it gives men and women, because I don't think it's just about the man here. I think sometimes it gives people who have a mental connection, emotional connection with one person, but have sexual desires that they don't wish to curb. So it's like, hey, I love your mind, but I love other people's bodies. And because our connection is mental, we can have physicals with other people because these other people are just temporary or, But I'm an old guy,
You're not an old guy.
I'm old. My soul, I listen to Al Green. I listen to Al Green.
Personally, I appreciate the fact that everybody is being so open about it, the people that are in that lifestyle, because it kind of tells me who to steer clear from. Like, that's what you into? Okay, cool. I love that for you. I'm going to go over here. And even for the women, like, I think I feel like men can kind of see those types of women a mile away. Like, oh yeah, she would be down, or she's open to it.
I think sexual exploration is important. I think the human bodies are beautiful, and I think with all the makeup and surgeries and even the waist trainers and girdles, like the whole thing, like it just exacerbates beauty. Like I've never seen so many beautiful people now because everybody's just made up to be beautiful, right? So then
oh my God.
And then with these phones that we've got, they show you most of the time people are either in the gym or on the beach, right? Or so we're just being perpetuated flesh, right? And then like back in the day, if I dated 10 girls, only one of them would even entertain the possibility of even letting a girl touch them, right? Right now it's like 60-40, and then I like girls too, and I probably like them more than you. I think there is some growth there. I think there's some people coming out the shadows, but I think some people are just overstimulated by the flesh, and there's a space for you.
Definitely overstimulated.
There's a fan club.
Yeah, especially with social media.
It's more acceptable.
Yeah, it's like, well, we all like girls. Yeah. And then it's like I forget the term that she used. It's like I'm mono romantic heterosexual.
Oh my God.
Well,
heterosexual.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think I like I can have sex with either male or female, but I only want to love a man. Right? I forget.
Mono romantic,
by I don't know. But I'll get it and I'll say
I'm gonna
that
look
we can
into
put it there
that,
because it's.
yeah,
I mean,
the interesting labels.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm for it all because it turns either you want to get married or you don't into a 15 slice pizza. And as long as we keep having these conversations, we'll figure out where everybody falls. Now, the sad part is people who, let's call it traditional, people who want to be traditional really realize that, hey, only a small sliver of us actually believe in this perpetual, forever, sickness and health, richer or poor, you know, to become one sort of vibe that I'm on. Which it sucks because, you know, I got to do more work to figure out who falls into that.
I was going to say it's an elongated journey.
Yes, I mean that's why I'm 38 with no kids and no wife. But I got to take responsibility
yet
for
either.
that.
You know, and I have my one son, but yeah,
I got time.
We all got time. We speak time.
I'm not even. I don't know. I do like the segregation of it and how people are willing to be more open about who they truly are. Because a lot of women don't find out until they are in that marriage that, hey, like my husband likes to do freaky things on the weekend. And like, if you be with it or you not.
Yeah.
So I think that's dope.
But hopefully she knew it was freaky before he was husband. Hopefully she knew.
Hopefully, yeah.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that telling a man the type of man that you're looking for is a bad idea? That's a question I think I don't get often, but I've gotten that question. Like, well, what do you look for in a dude? Or like, you know, what you want?
It's dangerous. There's no real right answer when trying to vet strangers. I think the danger comes in where if he really likes you aesthetically, he'll try to emulate that, which is a sign of respect.
Yeah.
But it's only so long fake thugs can pretend, you know. So that's dangerous.
Because it can be manipulated.
Yeah. And then I mean, but if you're confident enough to be able to speak that, then you should be wise enough to be able to notice when somebody's pretending. As a rule of thumb, I don't really tell women what kind of woman I'm looking for. I just ask questions to figure out what type of woman she is. Because I think women are art, not opportunity. So every time I meet a woman, it's just like walking into an art gallery. The only thing I'm here doing is looking at the piece. I'm not here with a paintbrush to try and make the piece more appealing. No, it's art. You like it or you don't. And then you move on.
So how do you answer the question?
How do I answer the question? I think as a woman, I think you absolutely do. And you also pay attention to his reaction. Because if this is a man, he cannot, it'll be such a welcoming sign to meet a woman who knows what she wants. And it'll save dollars. Because if I know I ain't that, then I don't need a second date.
Okay,
you don't gotta waste no more time.
Cut to the chase.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Well, I really do love so many of your perspectives and insights.
Thank you.
And that's what our podcast really, our main intention is to have these type of conversations, to hear different perspectives and insights of things respectfully without it getting on like, well, I think this, you're wrong about that. Yeah, because we can always receive and learn something even if we don't fully agree. I feel
respectful disagreement.
Yeah, respectful disagreements for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed you.
Thank you so much, y'all.
We did have one last
for sure.
What do you think some pros and cons are for age gap relationships? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but that became an issue.
So we'll do the cons first. The cons are, well, I'll give you some background. Mine was 22 and 32, which is a 10-year age gap, which isn't bad if it was 42 and 52.
Right.
But 22 and 32 is probably one of the worst ones, with the man obviously being older and the woman being younger. And not worse altogether, worse in a 32-year-old man looking to settle down and a 22-year-old woman who is just coming outside, right? And I think most of my cons were self-inflicted because I saw so many opportunities where she was not yet exposed to life. And I felt like I was doing her a disservice sometimes by trying to tap into her wifeliness, right? And I saw the frustration that would come where it's like we lived together. And so it was like, all right. And this was the first time me living with somebody. So that was tough. That was a challenge on its own. So it was a super learning experience. But I think there was a certain guilt there because I'm like, wow, like I've done a lot of shit that you haven't even gotten a chance to do yet as a single person. And theoretically, I may be robbing you of these things, just like the freedom. Not to say that love, that love is a prison. But it's like, I could see how a man who wants certain things in a certain amount of time moving forward, and somebody who's just now understanding who she is as a woman, it's like, damn, I don't want to rob you of your livelihood. Now, the good news is it makes you feel so young again. It makes you feel so young again. And now I don't go as far as some guys say, oh man, you could mold a young girl, or you could feed her dog food and train her. Like,
Not feed the dog food.
Well, I mean, some people appreciate the malleability of a younger woman because she doesn't have her own yet, so you can kind of titrate her way through survival, and she will be some sort of loyal to you. It takes a certain type of masculine manipulator to get to that point, but I've seen it. They take a young girl, are super fly, super mature, super grown, and then, her needs are small, phone bills, maybe a facial, right? So I can take care of that, and then you kind of orient them into the lifestyle that you want to live.
This is what women do. This is, what you're going to do.
Before she even discovered it for herself.
But I mean, where I liked it is because before I met her, I'd already been to 32 countries. But this gave me an opportunity to go again. I already knew how to make Alfredo sauce from scratch. It gave me the opportunity to do it again. I might have did a lot of stuff, but it allowed me to young people are so innocent, like the reason why I fell in love with the younger woman was because she didn't have the bags. She didn't have the pain. She was so excited. She was so excited. She was so anxious. She was so free about life, and I fell in love. I fell in love with that, and I wanted to protect it. I wanted to explode that, but it was just one of them things. Like, I don't think the age. I mean, now that we said all of that, I don't think the age was the real reason why we separated. I think there were a lot of other factors. I really think it was because I waited too long to live with somebody. By the time I was 34. I had moved out of my mom's house at 17. So from 17 to 34, I didn't have no roommate. No girl stayed longer than like 2 nights in a row. Now I had a whole woman who moved across the country to live with me. Didn't know nobody on this coast.
Wow.
Her mother, father, brothers, sisters, everybody was 3,000 miles away. Only person she had here was me. And I was her support, her provider. We had a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 rooms. And it was tough, but it was a learning experience. I'll do so much better next time.
And I think even for her, that was probably some of the best years, that she's had up until this point. As someone that has dated older men, you learn so much when they're honest, and when they don't try to manipulate it, and when it just happens organically. You gain a lot of life experience through, just exploring that connection, and it's a very different dynamic, like dating someone that is your same age versus dating us. It's very unique.
Yes, I think I'm gonna go young again. I think so.
Fun.
Keep
fun and free and pure.
But this time, I mean, 10 years is okay, but there's a difference. I'm curious to see what the difference is between 28 and 38 as it was between 22 and 32. Okay. I mean, you never know, though, because there's this girl that's 43, lives in Houston, and I think she's amazing.
Okay.
I think she's amazing.
Okay, Houston.
Okay, shout out to her.
I know. Well, second episode, we'll talk about what she told me I could do because she doesn't want to have any kids. She told me I could bring the kid back. She says, if you go, I can't have no more babies. But if you come back with a newborn, I won't be mad.
Wow. Whoa.
She says, I don't want no more kids, but if you come back with one, I love both of y'all. So I'm thinking about that.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking about that. I'm just playing. Thanks y'all so much.
No, thank you. All right. So thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, I got y'all. Shit, this is my show. It's over.
Thanks for having Faceted Duality.
Thank you for offering your perspective.
Heck yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be the premier guest. And I hopefully I'll come back again.
Yes.
And thank you for donating those books to our giveaway. If you are a woman and you would like to hear more about what Mike has to say, definitely drop something in the comments, something that you would say to a woman or to your younger self, and we'll be picking out a winner.
Yes, thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Peace and love.
Peace.